Welcome back everyone to another edition of Forex Tech Magazine. It is your host, Lewis here, and I am sitting with you. This is Monday, December the 10th, 2018, making our way through the last month of the year. And hopefully you've made a ton of money this year. If you haven't, stick with us because hopefully, maybe we could give you some little tidbits here that might help change it around for you. But before we get into that, let's get into our disclaimer real quick. And the disclaimer goes a little something like this: any and all information that's given to you by Forex Tech Magazine should be considered to be for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing that we've given to you or shared with you should be considered to be for financial advice. If you are seeking financial advice, then our advice to you would be to seek out a licensed, competent advisor. All right, so since we got that disclaimer out of the way, let's get right into why you came here today, which is to, I don't know, learn how to make some money, right? Good old coffee. It's what I need in life. All right, so let's get into this. First of all, let's look at what we put on last week. Last week, we put a couple trades in right before we got out of here. I think, what was it, Thursday or Friday maybe? I can't remember. All right, so this right here is the Great Britain pound, a zillion dollar. As you can see, this is right here the daily chart, right? It looks like it's pretty much going in a downward trend, right? Here goes a high, here goes a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So quite naturally, since we went in and we put our support and resistance lines in, right? And if you guys haven't seen, or you guys are, if you're new and you haven't gotten up to speed about support and resistance lines, the reason why we do those is because it helps us know where we are at in the trade relative to the trade itself, right? For instance, like just to give you an example, if you go to a mall or if you go to a building someplace, one of the first things you're going to notice that when you go into that structure, that there's going to be a placard or something somewhere that's going to tell you, say, hey, you are here, right? And then from there, it's going to let you know where all the other stores or shops or office spaces or whatever are relative to where you are currently located at. So it's the idea to help give you some direction so that way you're not just wandering around lost, right? So we put our support and resistance lines on the chart so that way we effectively do that same thing for us. So at any given moment, we know where we're at. So we know if we're at a support zone or we know if we're at a resistance zone. And that helps us make some very vital decisions of whether or not we should be buying or selling at that particular moment, right? Because, of course, we want to sell into resistance and we want to buy into support, right? And if you look here, right, this right here used to be a support zone because it supported price here when it came down. This is back in November, right, 15th. Price bounced up, broke through that level of support. And so typically when it breaks through that level of support, that support can then become an area of resistance, and that's what we were anticipating when we took this position here, that this support would now become resistance because as you can see, price went here on that Wednesday, touched it, pulled back, came back again, that Thursday touched it and pulled back, and now here we are. The price is at now, which price has moved from there. So, and it also falls into this pattern or this rather downward trend line here where price goes up, hits a resistance area, and then proceeds to move in the opposite direction. So that gave us pretty good indication, pretty good confirmation here that price should be moving down. And you know what? We got in on that one. And now we're in the process of watching this trade move through. Now, one of the things that we're going to do here, and we haven't done it yet, is we want to put on a risk-free trade, right? And if you haven't heard me talk about risk-free trade, these things are freaking awesome, right? And the reason why we do it is because we want to preserve our capital, right? So what we look to do, and not now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to let price move down a little bit farther, right? Make it a lower low, come back up, make a lower high, and then what I'll do is I'll take this stop loss from here, from the swing high up here, from the support or resistance area, and bring it down and place it at the swing high that's below our entry price, right? So that way it gives us a good level of saying that, hey, price would have to break through this swing low before it makes its move up. Now, as you can see, price is making its move up right here. Not really worried about that, because as it makes its way down, you're gonna have some fits. You're gonna have some, you know, some hiccups where it's gonna pull back, it's gonna go down, it's gonna pull back, and as you see, it's retracing right now. Right, it's just part of the whole price movement. Right, you just got to understand that price moves in waves, and as you look at lower time frames, you know, you can really start to see those waves even more. Right, so once again, you know, high, low, low, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right, lower high. So as you can see, this right here is on a 10-minute time frame. Now we don't trade off a 10-minute time frame. The lowest we tend to trade off of is an hour. May come a time, and like I think I said in a couple other videos, maybe in 2018 might start going down a little bit lower time frame just to see how it is to trade it. Typically I don't, and the reason why is just because it tends to be a lot of noise when we start trading in too low of a time frame, and it just seems like you get a better. I don't like to just be bouncing in and out of trades, and part of the reason why is because there are fees that you have to pay that's involved every time you place a trade, and part of those fees is just that spread, and it adds up over time. So ideally, what I like to do is just kind of get in and do a swing trade, swing from, you know, a low to a low or high to a high, and make, you know, the money and the opportunity there. Okay. Oh man, coffee. So with that being said, let me check something real quick here. All right, so with that being said, this trade is on. We are looking to take profit on this particular trade here. Let's pull this up. The take profit is going to be at, what's that, 1.830020. So right back here at this support level, anticipating price will at least get us back to here. We'll take profit, and it's going to be, I think it's about 200 pips or so. Profit for this particular one here, which should be pretty good. Yeah, about 213, something like that. So it's not a ton, but it's enough, especially with the way we have it leveraged right now. So that should make pretty good profit. Anticipate maybe by Wednesday, possibly no later than Thursday. This particular trade should hit. So that'll be good. Let's look at the next one that we're in, which is the Great Britain Pound, Aussie dollar. Aussie. I like that. I don't know why. Don't ask me. All right, so here's another one, right? As you can see, price is moving in a downward trend, right? Yeah, so as you can see, just to kind of take it off, took everything, clear the screen for a second. As you can see, you know, here goes a high, here goes a low, here goes a high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, possibly, yes, because that wick is up there. So as you can see, price is trending down, right? When you got lower lows and lower highs consistently being made across the chart, you're in a downward move, okay? And if it was the opposite, if you had higher highs and higher lows going up, then you'd be in an uptrend. So if we're in a downtrend, we're going to be looking to what? Sell. Hopefully, if you guys been following me, you would understand that that's what we're looking to do. Right? We're not looking to buy in a downtrend, right? That's people that like trade counter trends. I don't do that. That's crazy to me, just because I would feel very afraid trying to buy something when it's going down, because you just don't know how far it's going to continue to go down. Now, so we know this thing is going down, right? So what would be our major point of emphasis to be looking at? So we're going to be looking at support and resistance zones, right? And because what we want to do is we want to look for areas to sell. Now, do we sell at support? No, support is where we're looking to buy, right? But because this is downward trending, we're not looking to buy. What we're looking to do is sell. So we're looking for support. Looking for resistance zones to sell at, right? And if you notice here in the past, right, price goes down, it goes up, hits resistance, right? And what happens? It begins to sell, right? Price goes down, it comes back up, it begins to sell. Price goes down, comes back up, what happens? Begins to sell. And now we have a situation where price goes up, right? It hits this resistance area. And what should price begin to do? Price, if it continues this pattern that we're seeing right here, should begin to sell. right? And as you can see right here, right, it is, right? Price went up. Looks like you got a little bit of an indecision candlestick right here at the resistance area. So that means that bull's not in charge, seller's not in charge. It's kind of, the price is indecisive. It's right here at the resistance line. And then now you're starting to get a bearish candlestick formation. Still looks like kind of indecision, but by the end of the day, we should definitely have, I believe we should have some decision on this. And it looks like as we speak, it is starting to make its move downward, right? Which is really cool. Right, and for this particular pair here, we have our take profit, which is going to be right back here at this level of support originally, right? Because once again, if we're truly in a downward trending market, price at some point should proceed below this level of support, going down to the next level, right? And if not, if we can get close, you know, what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll start to adjust, excuse me, some of our settings that we have here. Once again, right now we have a stop loss in place, and the ideal goal would be to get this into a position where we have a risk-free trade in place, and which that would entail just coming in, looking where we're at, right? This is the buy entry area here, this line, right? Wait for price to cross below, right? Make its move down past, you know, the lows is here. Wait for price to pull back up again, create a little swing high, and then proceed back down. And then what we do is put our stop loss right there, that's a little bit above that swing high, and then just ride price all the way down. And then we keep adjusting it accordingly as we go down towards our take profit. It's pretty simple. And like I said, the good thing about that will do two things. One, it's going to ensure that we have a risk-free trade, which is what we want, and that no matter what happens in the market, that we leave out with a profit. And that's essentially what you want, because trust me, you cannot, at least I've never seen anybody go broke before while they was taking a profit, right? The problem is with most folks is they'll put on a trade, they'll set their stop losses if they use it, and then they will not, for whatever reason, go back in and adjust it as the trade goes on. They won't even adjust their take profits. For whatever reason, they believe that if they set the take profit, that the market just must adhere to their take profit, and for whatever reason, it can't deviate. It must obey whatever their take profit command is, and a lot of times what happens is price will come within a few pips or whatever their take profit was, and then proceed to U-turn, crash through their stop losses, and leave them with a negative on their account. Once you get into a profit on a trade, there's really no reason for you to be able to, there's really no reason for you to lose money. Honestly, it's not. I mean, even looking at this right here right now, let's look at where we're at right now in this particular trade. This particular trade right now, we're up $1,300 on this trade. Honestly, if I wanted to, I could go in right now and put in stop losses in place just to guarantee that I'll lock up at least a 80% majority of this right here. So that way that this trade comes out profitable no matter what, right? For most people, $1,300 is good money to make within 2 days of trading. But what we're trying to do here is not just make $1,300. We have a potential here to make, I think it's about like 13,000 on this. Can't remember. And so what we want to do is we want to try to play this out a little bit more. We want to make sure we got a plan when we're trading, right? And we want to execute the plan, right? And the whole purpose of me doing these trades, kind of coming here and talking to you guys and walking you through it, is just so that way you guys can get familiar with being disciplined and using a strategy, proven strategies, to help you become better traders, hopefully, right? So at any rate, those are the two trades that we got on. Close this out right here. Let's look at some other currency pairs, right? and see if there's some potential out there to make some money in these pairs. Okay. So this right here is the Great Britain pound, Canadian dollar. Once again, we have support and resistance lines already pegged out on our charts here. This right here is moving sideways, if you have not noticed. Now remember from our earlier videos, price typically moves in one of three directions. Actually kind of moves in a variation of one of two directions. Does it at the same time. So, but it's up, down, and sideways. It's the only way price can move. And typically price moves like up and to the side or down and to the side, right? Very rarely we see price just go straight up, shoot just straight up, right? If it shoots straight up, just kind of be prepared. Something's happened, and it's probably gonna get ready to ping back down. But as you can see, you know, this looks like it's going directly up. It's actually moving up and to the side, right? And this is right here moving straight down. Got one candlestick, but then it's moving back up and to the side. All right, it's kind of down and to the side, up and to the side, and it's going back down to the side. Now, when we look at this particular pair, right, and we notice that overall that's moving sideways because once it comes up to this level of resistance here, right, what happens? Price just U-turns, right? It comes up here and it just goes back down, right? Comes back up here, goes down, right? Sound effects, right? Goes down. Exact opposite holds true when price comes down to this level of support, right? Here and here. This right is kind of a major, and this right is a minor. That's how you typically kind of label these things. But as you see here, price comes down to this major level of support. Buyers come in, pushes it back up. It goes, it gets close to this area of support, and price comes back in, pushes back up. Buyers seem like are coming in earlier and not waiting as late to come down to this lower level. They're coming in a lot earlier in this particular pair. And then what happens is it crashes down to this level of support. It pushes back up immediately. It comes back down to the level of support, pushes back up immediately. And so for right now, it hasn't made it all the way to this level of resistance, but it did get to this minor level of resistance, right? Price pushed back through, and so now we got to ask ourselves the question: well, what is price going to do next? Even though we see a kind of a green candlestick forming here, my voice is cracking. What am I going through puberty? Forming here. The question becomes: will price continue to move down to this level of support, or will price reverse to go back up to this level of resistance? I don't know. Right? And that's why I wouldn't be in this trade. Now, the only thing I could really offer here, the only thing I could really say here, personally, and like it's right there, almost like a perfect halfway point. The only thing I can say here is that, you know, just based off the trade I'm already in, you know, which is a trade that's showing that the Great Britain pound has a little bit more ways to go before it starts to turn back around in the currency pairs that I am, that I would anticipate, then that this right here would probably be on its way down as well. But I can't guarantee it, right? I don't really have any type of confirming price action that really makes me feel any type of comfort level of making that assumption, right? So in this particular case right here, what I would recommend would be to sit on the sidelines for this particular trade. Now, other people may want to come in and they may want to trade it. And if you can, you know, if you feel comfortable with it and that's something you want to do, by all means, go for it. Knock yourself out, man. Go in there and trade that trade if you feel comfortable with doing it. Only thing I would recommend is make sure that you definitely trade with some type of a stop loss in place. Money management is very key to this industry. A lot of people don't use it. A lot of people just kind of like just go in there and they just feel the trade, man, feel the vibes, and they just get in there and they just start trading willy-nilly, and then, you know, they look at it like it's almost like it's a casino, and they get in there, they wager way too much, and then they wind up losing way more than what they should. But me, I just sit this one out. I personally like to look for easy trades. I don't like trying to trade anything hard. And the reason being is because there are enough currency pairs out here, and on any given day, right? If you give it enough time, right, you'll see some type of formation, some type of pattern start to take place. And when you do, trade it on that currency pair, right? In fact, what I really like to do is just let the market come to me, because when you try to go out to the market and you just try to go in there and enforce your will, and you start looking at something like this right here, and you start making your decision just based off of your own assumptions, and this has got to be doing this right here because blah 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 blah. What you're going to see is that the market doesn't have to really do anything other than just do the market and follow its own method, and you'll see your account start to disappear right before your eyes. Very impressive magic trick that that I do not like to be a part of. Watch my account balance disappear. Here's another one. This right here is a Great Britain pound Japanese yen. I hate trading anything with the Japanese yen in it, and those of you who know me heard me talk about it before, and one of the reasons being is because Japanese yen typically tends to be a safe haven currency. So in times of crisis and uncertainty in the world, people will pour into this currency. All the and understands that if there is a high demand for that currency, it increases the value and therefore decreases their ability to trade effectively with other trading partners, and so therefore potentially crippling their economy. And so they do whatever they can to go in there and keep that value at a certain level or low, so that way it doesn't have a negative effect over the GDP for their economy. But anyway, let's look at this right here. So this particular pair, pop quiz, if you had a look at this right here, what do you think it's doing? Is it trending up or trending down? Is it moving sideways? Right? Well, it's like it's moving sideways, but it's making a big, big swaths of up, down, but it's still moving sideways, right? At the end of the day, because here is your resistance, right? Here is your support, right? And then you got like a little minor resistance / support right here in the middle, right? So this thing's moving sideways. So we, right here now, back on a major level of support. Now the question becomes, well, what's next for this? Is it going to move up? Or is it going to move down? Well, it's on a level of support. So obviously we would be thinking that it's going to move up, right? Wrong. With this currency pair here, I would just kind of like let it play out and see. It possibly could move up, but it's still possible it could move down, right? Just because you own support doesn't necessarily mean that you automatically buy. When you own a support or resistance level, what it means is that now you got to pay close attention to what's going on, really close attention to what's going on, because there's potential here, right? Overwhelming majority of potential here for this thing to move up, right? But there's also the potential for this thing to break through and continue moving down, right? So when you get to these areas of support and resistance, this is where your radar goes off, and you're like, you tune in, and you say, okay, man, what do we got here, right? Off of one candlestick, we ain't got much. We got to look at this, right? Because you see right here, price came down, hit that level of support, right? Came back up the next day, but then it just started making these, bearish candlesticks here, right? You might have thought, hey, here, okay, well, buyers are pushing in, and sellers try to bring it down, but hey, it looks like buyers is pushing it up, so maybe we should have a positive day on Thursday. But guess what? Thursday it was a sell-off. Right? Sunday looks like it started low and then it sold off again, and now it's just come back up, right? So now the question becomes: is this thing really going to be bouncing up? Or is it something else that's going on in the market that's going to, push this thing back down, right? These are the type of questions you got to ask yourself when you get in here and trade. You just can't go in and look at it, take a 30-second look, and then just like, okay, let me get in and get out, right? Now, if we back this up to a weekly chart, right, we see that price definitely has the potential to go a lot lower, right? And just based off these candlestick wicks here, it could go lower. It could even go all the way back down to the lower level of support here, right? Now, two things with that. One, if it drops all the way back down to this lower candlestick level here, that means that the Japanese yen has increased immensely against the Great British pound. So that might be something, whereas I would have to say something major would have had to have happened in the marketplace, right? You know, with everything that's going on with Brexit and some of the stuff that's going on with some of these trade agreements, it's quite possible that it could occur. The other thing that could occur and thing that could happen is that, you know, you could get an extended period where price just kind of trades along this support line here. There's nothing that says that it has to bounce back up immediately, right? It could just trade extensively along this line here for a while, right? That's something else to watch as well, right? I will tell you this right here. If price does start to make a move and come back up, then, you know, that's definitely something that we should be watching, because this right here, it would be a potential take profit, right? But it's gonna definitely have to start with some type of movement or some type of positive, you know, price action coming off the support line, and it hasn't done it as of yet. So, with that being said, I would not come in and place a market order to buy right now, or I wouldn't even really come in and place a entry order to buy right now at any of these levels right here, because I don't really see any levels that look really good. Typically, I like to look at like a swing high or swing low. I've set off a entry buy, entry sell. I don't really see anything in here that kind of moves the needle for me. When we trade on a sideways moving pair, our entries are a little bit different than what it would be on a trending pair. And once again, I don't see anything in here for the trend wise that really makes me, for sideways movement wise, that will make me feel comfortable going in and getting into this particular pair at the moment. So with that being said, I'm gonna say sit on the sidelines on this one as well, and wait until you get a better setup, right? And we'll just look at over the next 24 to 48 hours and see if we can get a better setup in place. And if we do, then we'll look to trade on this one right here and get something going, right? So let's get, that's the Japanese. Blah, 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 blah. So this is the one we're already in right now. Don't need that one again. We already covered that one. And we'll look at this one here with the US dollar. All right, so this is Great Britain pound, US dollar. This one right here actually did put a buy entry in, and I'm waiting for it to materialize here. As you can see, let's look at this one, clear off everything on the screen. Boom. All right, so this particular pair here, it is really just moving sideways, right? And here is a high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, right? Oops. Lower low, or lower low, lower high, low, could be another high, low, low, right? So this is just some high, low nonsense. But as you can start to see here, it was making some pretty definitive, like highs, swing low, high, swing low, lower high, swing low, right? And now what we kind of do is kind of get muddled going into here, right? So what's happening is price is starting to kind of consolidate a little bit up in here, right? It's not making those big swings anymore. It's kind of consolidating. So the question is then, you know, why, right? Typically when price tends to consolidate, 70% of the time it moves in the direction it was originally moving in before the consolidation occurs. So with that being said, there's a 70% possibility that once this thing comes out of this consolidation, it's going to continue to move down, right? Now, here's the other thing, right? There's a 30% chance that it won't, right? That it may move up. Now, if you notice what's been happening here, and this is what I'm looking at here, right? This is where price goes down, it comes back up, right? Hits this little resistance, right? Price comes down, and then when price goes back up, it moves back up to resistance again. And for whatever reason, I don't know why my lines didn't print out. Oh, that's crap. I gotta go back in and redraw my my trend lines. But once again, I'm sorry, I gotta go back in and draw my support resistant lines. For that reason, when I went out and came back in, it didn't place them right. But price goes down, right? And you notice, right, we're looking at this downward trend line, right? So price respecting that trend line, right? Price goes up, hits that trend line, comes down, gets close to it, comes back down, respecting it. But when it finally pushed through, when it finally goes through that trend line, right, it moves up, and typically it moves up to a support resistance line, right? And then it goes back down again and starts back doing this downward trend. And here is our major level of support here. This is where it's a bottoming out, bottoming out, right? So what we're anticipating is price is going to come down, right? Hit this level of support, and then begin to make its way, like it's done here in the past, right? Back up to that level of resistance, right? Right, comes down. Once it breaks through that trend line, it pushes back up. Breaks through, pushes back up, right? And heads towards that level of resistance, right? It should be up here, right? And this right here is a couple of days away. Probably won't see that move happen until probably maybe the end of this week, beginning of next week, maybe. It could happen sooner. I just don't know how much more price is going to consolidate. I just tend to believe that right now price is in a position where Great Britain pound, everybody's kind of weak on it. And I think that it's going to be a little bit before it moves back around and begins to push back up. But in the event that it does and it begins to make that move, right, we have our entry price here, right, in anticipation of catching that move. And we have our take profit up here. It's about 200 and I think like 213, 230, something like that pips all together. It's not a huge amount, but it's definitely an amount to, be noticeable in our account should it hit. And then we put our stop loss here just in case if it's a fake out where price moves up and then, falls back through. But in the past, when price is able to break through that downward trend, it's moved pretty impressively, right? Moved with a lot of authority, and then price just proceeded to move on up. So that's what we're anticipating happening in this particular pair. Let's check on the pair that we were just in. Let's look at those numbers. Beautiful. Look at that right there. So went up from what, 1,300 a couple of minutes ago to now we're what's that, $2,213, which is great. Continue to track this trade throughout the week to profitability. Once again, it's one of those things, once you're able to kind of get in there and identify certain patterns and certain things that's taking place inside the market, what you want to do is not try to impose your will upon the market. You just want to just trade what the market is giving you, take what it's giving you, let the market come to you. You don't have to see more into it than what's there. You don't have to go in there and do some type of some type of weird, funky math. All you got to do is just go in there, just look at what it's giving you. Don't try to go out there and anticipate everything that's going to happen before it happens. You don't have to, you don't have to have a whole bunch of charts and a whole bunch of stuff on your screen. Me personally, I only trade with one chart, one screen. I don't have like this huge setup where I got like 30 screens and all these different computers, and I don't have all that stuff. Try to keep it as simple as possible, and just let the trades come to you. That's all you gotta do. Let the trades come to you. You'll sit there, you'll see it, and you'll see it as it develops. Every day you don't have to be in a trade. In fact, if you look at a couple of our other previous videos, you'll see where we set out for probably almost about a week or two, but we didn't do anything because there just wasn't really anything out there to trade. Everything looked pretty messy, and I didn't want to get into something that was messy. What I'd rather do is sit back and wait, get something that looks really good, like an A+, setup, and then use leverage, right, to get in there and trade something that I felt like I had a really good high probability of being successful, and then go in there and feel comfortable using my leverage to increase the value of those particular trades. And come out profitable. And thank God so far it's worked, right? Everything that I'm doing, you can do it as well, right? There's no secret here. There's nothing. There's no secret sauce. There's nothing here that I'm doing that you can't do too. And hopefully you are. Now, I know I had put up something about the 100K challenge, and we're still doing that, but we're not doing it until after the new year. Just that I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I can't effectively get in there and make those trades and keep that episode going every day like I want to at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So what we're going to anticipate doing is we're going to start that back up again, probably early to mid-January. So those of you, I know people have been asking me questions about when, what's going on, when you're going to get that started again. And so that's what's going on. And that's when I get that started again. At any rate, listen, guys, I'm about to get out of here. Those are the trades for the day. I'm about to get out of here. If you got any questions, hit me up at questions@Forex Tech Magazine. I love to hear from you. .com. And until next time, be safe, have fun trading, use your stop losses, and I will talk to you in about another 24 hours. Take care.